Massive new federal gun control bill has been introduced in Washington, D.C. This is one of the biggest and worst gun control bills. We're calling it the gun control nuclear bill because this bill will totally outlaw the Second Amendment for millions and millions of Americans. And we are going to break this down. This is the American Firearms Association show. You're not going to want to miss this. The bill is coming out today. So let us know where you're watching from. Help the Facebook and the YouTube algorithm. Share this video with your family and your friends right away as we kick this off. Let us know in the comments section where you're watching from, and we're going to break down this bill. It's one of the worst and most nefarious gun control bills ever introduced in Washington, D.C. Let us know where you're watching from, and we're going to break this down. We have Jerry checking in from Wisconsin. We have Kenny. We have Angel checking in from the Bronx in New York. Unfortunately, nice. She says, let us know where you're watching from, and we're going to get this show going.
What guys, they've been talking about this. The radical left has been waiting for this moment for a very long time. They literally have these playbooks in their file cabinet waiting for a mass shooting. And before that blood is even dried up on the floor, they have that thing out and they're ready to rock and roll. This bill is being filed today, but it's been worked on for a long time in advance, waiting for a moment just like this. I think we all agree. I think it seems more and more obvious. These guys have a strong suspicion they're going to lose control of Congress. And their concern is that if we don't do something now on guns, we may not have a chance to do this for a very long time. So what we're about to give you here, this bill from Cory Booker, it's like the worst thing we've ever seen. It combines all these different pieces at one shot because this may be their last big chance to move gun control. So we have no bill number yet, right, Ben, Patrick? There's no number yet.
Right. We've got the bill. No bill number yet,
No
guys.
bill number. But it's the Booker, Menendez, and Blumenthal bill right now as of today. And it would do the following things. Number one, mandate a national firearms license for every single person in America if you want to buy a gun. So from now on, if you want to buy a gun, Merrick Garland, the AG's office, federally has to issue you a permit if you qualify. It is the end of private party sales forever in this country. Number two, if you're so lucky as to get a national firearms license, it only covers you for one gun purchase, and you must do it within 30 days or your chance is over. So it's just an incredible lockdown. Number three, it's going to be almost impossible to get these permits for many people because they're making that so that if you've ever even so much as jaywalked, you're going to be denied this license. If you've ever been arrested for any one of a dozen different misdemeanors, you're denied. Now, I want to be clear. I said arrested, not convicted. So if you were arrested 40 years ago for something and you were never prosecuted or you were found not guilty, doesn't matter. You're going to be denied your federal firearms license. If you do get a license, you have to surrender the serial number, make, and model of every gun that you buy under these federal licenses. What else? We're going to have full-on red flag gun seizures built into this bill because this is perhaps the worst part of all, I think, Ben and Patrick and Chris, because this is so devious. They can deny you for any one of a dozen different reasons, and one of those is the recent purchase of a firearm. So let me say it one more time. Right. If you've recently bought a gun, that is evidence in their mind that you're crazy, that you're a threat, that you may shoot up a grocery store in Buffalo, New York. And so they're going to deny you a future permit, a future license if you've recently bought a gun. It is absolutely incredible. And finally, if you get this permit, this federal firearms license, your fingerprints go into the federal Wrap Back program, which is the federal non-criminal, they call it, federal database that tracks every fingerprint in the federal government system for the rest of your lifetime here on Earth. It is the worst gun control bill we've ever heard of in our lives.
Sure is nice that even if you don't commit a crime or if you're not on some sort of registry, you have the government keeping a massive database full of American fingerprints. That's funny. And the fact, what you said there at the very beginning, I think is exactly correct. You know, when people like the Democrats and even when Republicans, when they get control and when they get control of Congress or a state legislature or governor or presidency, what they want to do is always save their majorities and in many ways go into capital preservation mode, right? Save our power, save our power, save our power. And so they pushed gun control to beginning for a good long while, as everybody remembers 2021. But then we roll into 2022, and it kind of becomes clear that that Biden's numbers were starting to go down pretty steeply. Well, now they're rock freaking bottom. And from their perspective, and it's probably correct, there is no chance that the Democrats save their majorities, or at least Congress, in November. So what are they going to do? They're not going to sit there and keep going, we got to preserve our capital, we got to preserve our majorities, we have to play nice. No, if you're going to lose, if you're backed into a corner, what they're going to try to do very likely is hammer this stuff through, because hey, we're going to lose the majorities anyway, we might as well get the gun control policy.
And you're exactly right. And we saw this reporting in, I think it was Politico last Friday. The Biden administration is prepared to go it alone on Capitol Hill. I saw this morning Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats, they're just trying to ram through as much as they can possibly get through. And as gun owners, we are now facing a three-pronged attack. November is coming up in what, 6, 7, 8 months, 6 months, I guess. We have the Biden executive orders. We have the Dettelbach nomination coming up next week. And now we have the gun control nuclear bill from Cory Booker. Anything could happen. Filibuster hammered, filibuster busted. These people are on a kamikaze mission right now, and we could see a lot of this over the next few months. Could be a bumpy ride, guys. That's why we need all of y'all to jump on board as a member of the American Firearms Association today. It's fast, it's simple, it's safe, it's secure. JoinAFA.org. Again, bumpy ride coming up. Dems are going for it. Kamikaze suicide bomber missions. Join up at AFA.org, guys. JoinAFA.org. Stop Biden. Booker.com as well, guys. Now is the time to join up with the guys that you know. We're broadcasting all over the country right now. The same confrontational type politics that we have been practicing for over a decade at the state level, passing constitutional carry, passing SEPA, stopping mental health mandates, stopping red flag gun confiscation. We're going to Capitol Hill. We're doing it in Washington, and we want you to get on board. So join up today at joinafa.org. Who mentioned Joe Manchin? Aaron, Joe Manchin, we saw him pipe up yesterday. What did he have to say?
Well, before I mention that, well, you mentioned the filibuster. I want to make sure we discuss that again, Patrick. I mean, a lot of people are kind of sitting here thinking, well, you know, Joe's been trying to pass gun control since January of 2021. He doesn't have the votes. He hasn't had the votes. You know, what's different here? Well, again, the big change right now is what we've said all along in this video. These guys are desperate. They know there's a strong chance they're going to lose one chamber, maybe both chambers of Congress. We don't know. And they're very much adopting this AOC, screw the world, the hell with our majority mindset. We want to pass policy. They did it before in 1994 on the assault weapons ban. It cost them control of Congress. They didn't care. They did it again in 2010 on Obamacare. It cost them their majority for a long time. They didn't care. They would do it again. They've always said that. So the mindset now is different. They believe they're going to lose a portion of their majority, maybe both chambers, and they do not care anymore. Now it's about how much can we F over the American people. And so one of the ways they're going to do that potentially is destroying the filibuster. So right now it takes 60 votes to put a bill on the floor for a vote in the Senate. It's a fail-safe. It's a stopgap. It's a way to stop the madness in Washington, D.C. It's called the filibuster. What they want to do, though, is gut that, destroy that, and go back to a simple majority. 51 votes could pass anything. They have 50 Democrats on board, and they've got Kamala Harris there to sign any tie that would result in the chamber. So it's a very urgent threat here, and it's going to become more intense as days goes on. And as you mentioned, Patrick, Joe Manchin is kind of case in point number one. We've all seen Manchin kind of hold that line on a lot of issues, gun control being just one of them for the last 18 months. But even Manchin now, yesterday, out in the news, wanting to vote on universal background checks. It was called Manchin to Me way back in 2013. It was Joe's bill. He wants it done. He wants it done. So if Joe Manchin is now saying, you know what, we got to pass gun control, folks. The mindset is shifting in DC. This is not good.
And I want to distill just for a moment. There's a lot of new people watching right now. There's many, many, many hundreds of people watching all across the country. I want to distill this. Aaron, you just went through all the different bullet points of what this bill would do. But the main requirement here is that you would have to go to the Department of Justice to get a license to own or possess or receive any sort of firearm, right? So you have to have this license from the DOJ. And written into the bill, written into the law, it says that if you have purchased a firearm anytime in the past or recently, that can be proof that you're not eligible. So here they want you to get a license to exercise your Second Amendment rights. But the mere living out of exercising your Second Amendment rights is proof that you shouldn't be allowed to have the license to exercise your Second Amendment rights. So straight up, under Joe Biden, under any one of these people, under Merrick Garland at the Attorney General's office, all of these gun owners, all of us, millions, countless millions of gun owners will simply be denied their federal license to carry and own and possess and receive firearms. That's it. That's the whole thing in a nutshell. And like Aaron said at the beginning, they have this stuff sitting in drawers, waiting and ready to go. Like, they want you to think, oh, this shooting happened and Cory Booker is just so distraught and all emotionally, his just guts are in a knot, over this. And so we need to find out how it is that we can save lives. So we're going to sit down at the table, at the drawing board, and we're going to craft this policy that's going to save lives and save Americans. No, this crap was in a drawer, ready to go. They had this stuff written, and they're literally sitting there just waiting. Can we get some dead people already so that we can push this agenda? They don't care about people who get hurt. They don't care about the public. They don't care about criminals. They don't care about stopping crime. They don't care about public safety. All of their catchphrases and their one-liners and their talking points are all political bullshit designed to push through these types of bills and take away the Second Amendment rights of millions and millions of gun owners. Yeah. And that's why I got to stop it. What'd you say, Patrick?
Ben? Yeah, no, you're exactly right. I mean, again, guys, if you're just now joining us, let us know where you are watching from. I'm coming to you from Kennesaw, Georgia in the South. The guys are spread out working all across the country. We had to update you on the Biden-Booker gun control nuclear bill that is being introduced soon. I have it right here in front of me. As you can see, it does not have a bill number. The initial sponsors of this legislation obviously are Cory Spartacus Booker from Anti-Gun New Jersey. You have Donane Dick Blumenthal from Connecticut, notorious anti-gunner. We have Bob Menendez from New Jersey as well, who is a corrupt piece of crap. And we could have even more. And we're going to keep y'all updated when this bill gets introduced and as new legislators come on. But someone made the point earlier, maybe I did. This is, and I like this. This is the kamikaze mission of the radical left, right? They're all about incrementalism, and I know there's some people on our side who want that as well. But they know they're going to get killed. But guess what? They're going to live to see another day, and that's the way they look at it. That is the way they look at it. And you never know what could happen here. Aaron said earlier, Joe Manchin was bitching and moaning about his gun control bill wasn't getting through. You never know what could happen here, guys. So join up.
We're actually seeing a live version of this play out right now. We've seen the playbook happen in Virginia. In Virginia last year, or when the Democrats had control before Youngkin got in there, they passed all of that gun control. Everybody remembers it was the largest gun rights rally in American history. And they passed all this nasty gun control. And what have the freaking Republicans done? What has Glenn Youngkin done in Virginia since then? Like Ben talked about a few minutes ago, they went right into capital preservation mode, and they are doing everything they can to do nothing. Glenn Youngkin is not pressuring the legislature. If I was a Republican governor in a state that one half of my legislature was controlled by the Democrats, I would not pass one brass farthing for for spending bills for the state budget until they put a bill on my desk for me to sign that repeals all the gun control. The federal level Democrats, Cory Booker, Spartacus, all these people know this. They all know this. And so while they're looking at what looks like a very bad election year for them, is it catching them by surprise? No, they knew that they were going into this. They are crashing our economy. They are crashing our currency. They are crashing our global energy. And they're running this all into this election, and they don't care because they're going to pick up the pieces afterwards, 2 years from now, 4 years from now. They don't care. And they're relying on Republicans not to do anything about it.
Yeah, go ahead. $10 gas is coming, Chris. I know you talked about energy there.
Yeah.
That's going to have an effect on all. That's going to have an effect on all of us because we know how the supply chain works. Sure, we want as many people as possible to make as much money as possible, but companies are going to have to start paying even more than they're paying now, and that's going to the gun companies, the ammo companies, the trucking companies, everybody. Inflation, I think you mentioned that, Chris. We're all getting screwed by these guys, but you said it. They don't care. We've heard it a million times. Crisis is the friend of the state. We saw it over the last years. Right. We saw President Trump, and the only guy who stood against President Trump on the floor of the House was Congressman Thomas Massie from Kentucky. And guess what? Who was right? That started this pump, and what gets pumped has to get deflated at some point. And we are now feeling the effects of all of this when we fill up our gas tank, when we go to buy firearms, when we go to buy food, and it's going to hit all of us. And it is hitting all of us in the.
Is that your order, Patrick? Right, you do firearms and then gas and then food. Is that how you do it?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, just think about how it's going to affect everybody. I mean, there's conversations happening right now. Hey, we can't go to the store. We can't go to the restaurant. I mean, you talk about recession and start laying people off, even though there's a big, jobs glut right now. If they can't pay people, I mean, we're just all screwed on this. But again, the Democrats don't care. They're going
I
for
think
all they can
it's
right
more
now.
than that. It's not that they don't care. It's that this is what they wanted.
They knew.
They are doing this. Right. They're doing this. They want the left, the globalists have always wanted to crush the American blue-collar, freedom-loving, beer-drinking, red, white, and blue American patriot. They've always wanted to destroy people like us. That's always been their intention. And so because when they do that, it's really hard to stand up and oppose tyrannical government when you're desperately trying to find a loaf of bread to feed your family. Yeah. Right. It's really hard to dedicate or donate money to an organization that's fighting for the causes that you believe in when you're forced to put $10 gas in your truck just to get to work and back. And they know this. They're doing this on purpose. They've always been doing this on purpose. And again, they don't care. They're waiting. They don't care if they lose in November because they will get the majorities back another time.
If it was any question about ignorance or we did this by accident, then New York State would have taught them all they have to know about the impact of their gun control laws. I mean, everyone in New York State knows that in Buffalo, well, that madman has the blood on his hands. So does Andrew Cuomo. So does now current Governor Kathy Hochul. So do Republicans and Democrats who backed the SAFE Act in 2013 because they've already made it a crime to carry 11 rounds in your handgun. It's already a crime to have an AR-15. It's already a crime to buy a gun without getting government permission first. They already have their entire agenda on the books in New York State. It failed like it always fails, and all it is deny those innocent people self-defense options in that grocery store last week. So instead of trying to say, we screwed up on this, we made it harder for good guys to fight back, you've got these America-hating ghouls like Kathy Hochul yesterday screaming for a massive new gun control package in Albany, New York, and they're going to do it, whether it's through executive order, whether it's through legislation. They're going to try to do a great big push yet this session. And again, the point is that this is not by accident. This was not done out of ignorance. It wasn't like, oops, we didn't realize that banning guns would get people killed. They know it. They don't care. It's all part of their agenda, as you were saying a minute ago, Ben. So anybody who thinks that it's by accident that needs to re-examine. And also, some people are asking in the comment. I saw a minute ago. What's the problem with I can't find this comment now. Background checks. There's nothing to hide.
Oh my gosh! No,
we need to really finally and completely rid ourselves of this notion as gun owners that we ever have to give a damn inch to the radical left. I don't care if it's a bump stock. I don't care if it's an AR, a pistol brace. If it's a background check, every concession you make, every deal you make with your hostile government, whether it's statewide or federal, you're only putting more chains on the rest of us. You're putting more chains on our grandchildren. For God's sakes, many people did not oppose the bump stock ban, and now we have the 80% lower ban from 2017 to 2022. Many folks did not oppose red flag gun seizures when President Trump pushed them in the White House back in 2017. Now we have red flags spreading across the country. If we don't stand up and push back on this stuff, every time it comes up, we're only making it easier to give more of our freedoms away down the road. So stop.
Yeah, if that person is still here if they've legitimately had a problem with background checks, get on out of here. This entire system is the system that they're using to implement nationwide gun confiscation. This is the system that they're talking about, that Spartacus Booker is talking about using against us. Name a mass shooting that's ever been stopped by the background check system.
Yeah.
Come on.
None.
Get over it.
This guy passed it.
Wake up.
The shooter in New York State, he passed it. They all pass it. That's the whole point. They either bypass it altogether by stealing firearms, get them from a friend, or they just simply pass it. In most cases, they pass the background check and they go kill a bunch of people. That's how this works. So it's a delusional idea. And again, this also is not an accident. If the FBI, the DOJ actually gave a damn about the NICS program, they actually prosecute people who fail a background check. They don't prosecute them almost ever because they don't care.
Because the system is designed for us. The system is designed for us. It's us they want to put behind the fences. It's us they want to put into cages. This is a full-blown war now against our freedoms. And all these laws, all these systems, all these talking points that people like, what was her name? Hochul, Aaron, that you were talking about? Yeah, she stands up there. Look at that face, people. She could not care less.
Amen.
She could not care less that the blood of innocent people was spilled in that grocery store. Everything she's talking about is designed for you, to make you into a criminal so that they can lock you up. It's time that we stop getting fooled. It's time we stop getting played for suckers by these people, because they hate us. They hate freedom. They hate you. And it's time that we wake up and fight back against it like crazy.
Guys, a lot of y'all have already woken up just on this show alone. And the memberships are pouring in, and I want to read some names off here and where you're located. I know we're all proud of where we're from. But join up today at the American Firearms Association. JoinAFA.org. Let me read off some of our new members and supporters. Actually, some of y'all are just chipping in and donating. Brian in Manchester, Georgia. I know Brian very well. He's a big supporter up there, I think, in Northwest Georgia. Francis in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, is a new member of the American Firearms Association. Welcome aboard, Francis. If you want to hear your name read before the end of the show, try to get it in here, guys. While I'm reading the names, let me know where you're watching from up there in the comments. There's Michaelin, maybe that's Michael or Michaelin, in Theodosia, Missouri, has chipped in. Thanks. James in Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, up towards Chattanooga. Thank you, James. We've got Joe in Tonawanda, New York, is in as a new member of the American Firearms Association at the $75 level. Thank you. Jonathan has chipped in as a member at the $35 level. Crossroads, Pennsylvania. Greg in Wadsworth, Ohio. Enough of me reading all this, guys. But keep the memberships coming. Keep flying in. John renewed his membership yesterday. I saw a comment a few minutes ago, guys. I can't remember who it was from. And they said, and Congress wants more money for the ATF. And that leads us right into another segment here of the show, guys. Steve Dettelbach. We've been telling you about Dettelbach for over a month now on our email newsletter, in our direct mail, on our social media, on text. This is Biden's henchman. This guy's, I call him Snuffleupagus. I don't know why. It just reminds me of Snuffleupagus.
Well, look at that.
And he is a hardened, ambitious swamp envy is how somebody described him, creature who Biden and them, they lost Chipman last summer. Okay, this guy's out of Ohio. They lost Chipman last summer because gun owners beat the crap out of him. There he is with Obama, was Obama's classmate at Harvard, appointed by Obama, I think, as a U.S. attorney in Ohio. This guy, again, talk about kamikaze missions. They want to send him in there. This guy doesn't care. He wants to be a hero. These guys want to be heroes. This is what the kamikaze is, right? You just come in, to the hero to the left and implement these executive orders. Our understanding and our sources on Capitol Hill, open source and private sources, is that Dick Durbin, senator from Illinois, chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, is scheduling a hearing for the end of next week or sometime next week before the Senate leaves. Will that happen? We believe so. If not, we'll let you know. StopDettelbach.com. Chris, you're from Ohio, or anybody who wants to pick this stuff up or picks up on this stuff. Dettelbach, let's run this guy down, his record down here, and let gun owners know, again, if they're not familiar with this guy, why exactly they need to oppose him and oppose his nomination over at the ATF. So somebody jump on that there.
Well, it's obvious. I mean, he's the next pick, right? So we had David Chipman, dumb David Chipman. That guy, he thought he was going to be such a superhero. He thought he was a total shoo-in, and he got his ass kicked by gun owners is what happened. So Dettelbach is next up. They clearly think that he's a little more palatable than David Chipman was. I mean, there's a reason they called him Waco Chipman, right? But they think Dettelbach is more of a palatable character, and he's not. He's a total piece of leftist trash. And when he got up there with Joe Biden a few weeks ago, when he was nominated, right, he gets up there and he starts railing on gun owners, just viciously attacking Americans right there from the stand. Unlike David Chipman, right? Chipman was all, I'm going to get in there. We're going to do this stuff. This guy just started viciously going after the American people, standing right there at that podium. So we have to stop this guy because, I mean, if they can't get Cory Booker's legislation passed, if they can't get this passed, and that's why we're here, right? That's totally up for debate. It's not up for debate. We have to fight this. That's what we're doing here. But Dettelbach is the next step with Joe Biden, because if they can't get stuff passed through Congress, if they can't get stuff signed into law through the normal means, then they're going to stick somebody like Steve Dettelbach on gun owners and gun manufacturers and gun stores and all the little small town pop FFL dealers. And so, we have to stop him too. So if you've already signed your petition against the Booker Biden gun control bill, go to StopDettelbach.com and send your email, and that will go right to your U.S. senators, telling them to oppose the nomination of Steve Dettelbach. I mean, go ahead. I mean, I think that if we can hold these people off until November, we stand a hell of a good chance at stopping this whole agenda. So go ahead.
Yes, I think one of the big things about David Chipman was that he had a face that was, I think, created by God to despise. And there was all those pictures that were linking him with like Waco and all those different things. I think the common misconception about Dettelbach is that, he looks somehow like less like a threat, like less than that what the gun owners would be naturally opposed to. This guy is on the record against everything, though. He wants to ban the AR-15. He wants to pass a national red flag gun confiscation law. He wants to do everything that the left has been trying to do. Universal gun registration, outlaw the private sale of firearms. He wants to do everything that David Chipman wanted to do and more. So like Ben said, I think we just got to keep it up all the way through November.
Well,
and
and also, Chris, I mean, that's the legislative side, but the whole point right now for Joe Biden is he's taking his pen out and he's signing all these executive orders, and he's going to rely on David Chipman to be the attack force, the henchman that implements this tyranny against the American people. So it's all the bills they want to pass, but we have 3 executive orders coming down at us in a matter of weeks in June and then again in August that are going to make millions of gun owners into felons, all by executive fiat, and it's going to be the ATF who will be enforcing that tyranny across the country. That is Dettelbach's ultimate job for Joe Biden right now, is to have the drive to tyrannize the American people using executive orders only, because they're not going to be able to pass a lot of these bills. At least that's how it has been for the last year and a half. So this guy's a true monster. But some people are asking also in the comment section, they keep saying, well, this is unconstitutional. And I agree with you. All of us here, we agree with that. We know it's unconstitutional, but I challenge you, if you're thinking that you need to ask yourself, when has that ever stopped anything or anybody or any president or any party any time before? It was unconstitutional when Clinton banned AR-15s back in '94. It was everything. The assault, the NFA Act in the 30s and the 60s, all of them were unconstitutional. Red flag laws are the definition of unconstitutional. But you may not any longer, as a gun owner, have the excuse or have the mental flexibility to sit there and say, oh, that's bad, it's unconstitutional. Nobody cares.
Right.
In Washington, D.C. Nobody cares in your state capital. Nobody cares in your county board of supervisors. You can say it's wrong all you want, and they're going to laugh all the way until they put gun owners like us in prison. So don't just say it's unconstitutional. Do something about it. Get involved in this fight. Become a member. Hit your petition links. Make your voice heard. Call your congressman. That is how, and it's always been this way, that's how we stop bad stuff, not just saying that's unconstitutional. Everyone knows that, and nobody cares.
Well, that's why. And then go ahead, Chris. You have something?
Well, I was just going to say, and to be clear, we will be all over these lawsuits and suing them right back. We're not going to just leave that battlefield. But what Aaron said there is 100% true. We have to fight this now, especially on the legislative side, on the confirmation side, while we have this ability to do so.
Well, and that's why we're asking you guys to join up with the American Firearms Association. Go to www.joinafa.org, joinafa.org, because a lot of organizations, a lot of people, they put their faith in the next administration, right? It's all about just can we get our guy in office? And whether that's a state legislator or a congressman or a president, that's not the way we operate. We understand that to have consistent representation in Washington and in the state capitals across the country, in order to consistently hold back the storm that is constantly coming for us every time a good president loses and a bad president comes in, we need to have always a grassroots army of patriots ready to fight, ready to stand up, putting pressure on congressmen, putting pressure on their state representatives, their governors, the president. That's what we're doing here. We're not just asking you to join AFA as some sort of club. It's not a club here. We're an army of patriots fighting for our Second Amendment freedoms in states all across the country and in Washington. You know all of us. You've seen all of us on camera for more than a decade, depending on where you're from. We've been working in these state capitals. That's why you need to join AFA today. Go to joinafa.org. Get on board. Does anybody have one of the AFA t-shirts? Do we have a t-shirt close by?
I just had someone grab me one here. Hang on a second. Once Ben.
Do this.
If you guys can see this, okay.
There you go. My rights don't end where your feelings began. American Firearms Association. Get a membership today. Comes with a free AFA t-shirt. I think we have small to 4X, and flaunt your patriotism to all your leftist neighbors, to the lefties that you bump
piss them off in the grocery store, piss them off in the post office, make them mad at Little League baseball games. Stand up for yourself. People love talking about this. You will find so many more new friends when you wear these shirts, because so many people out there are like scared to flaunt their love for freedom. Put these freaking shirts on, folks. Tell the whole world where you stand when it comes to gun rights and freedom.
Right.
And you're going to find a bunch of new friends. If you lose some friends, they shouldn't have been your friends in the first place.
Well, they censor us online, right? They censor us. They don't let people say what they want to say. They don't let people demonstrate their patriotism. You get your accounts banned, locked, your comments removed. So I don't think I go anywhere without wearing a gun rights t-shirt, because you can't censor my t-shirt. So go to joinafa.org, become a member today, guys. Get on board. Help us continue to grow this movement. Help us stop Steve Dettelbach. Help us stop Cory Booker's new gun control bill. Help us slam the lid on this stuff. And then when this army is up to size and when Republicans take back control, then we go on offense and we hammer
Yes.
on pro-gun legislation, the Second Amendment Preservation Act, defunding all federal gun control, national reciprocity. We cannot continue to do what we have always done as a movement, and that is turn our brains off whenever our team gets control. We have to hammer it all the way through and ignore the NPCs, right? You got that guy who's on here. What's wrong with background check? You're an NPC. You're a non-player character, for anybody out there who doesn't play games. It's like you are not participating in this process. This is an organization for patriots only. If you're not a patriot, if you don't love our country, please don't join the American Firearms Association. Go join Moms Demand Action. If you love our country, however, and our Second Amendment rights, go to joinafa.org. And I think, guys, with that, I think that's what we have for today. Again, the bill, this brand new gun control bill, does not have a bill number yet. There will be a lot more developments on this in the days ahead. We're going to keep you up to date on all of it. Get on board, join us, help us shut this down, and let's surge forward towards victory in November and permanent victory and securing our freedom for America. So take care, guys. We'll be back with